right, so welcome to the Coaches Tribune. We're having a former NBA veteran and Mr. Arkansas and basketball, Ronnie Brewer. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We good. So just to start off, you obviously played for a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm.
So out of all the coaches you played for, which one did you admire the most?
Two of them stick out to me. The late Jerry Sloan, Hall of Fame coach, coached me 4 years in Utah. Did so much for the Jazz, had a long story career playing in the NBA, and just kind of gave me the blueprint of what it meant to be a true professional and how to stay in the NBA for a long period of time. So, for me to being in the league for so long, I attribute that to him and the words that he kind of laid on me as a rookie, which, stuck with me throughout my career. And the other coach is probably Tom Thibodeau with the Chicago Bulls, man. He was a hard, tough-nosed coach, and kind of similar to Coach Sloan. Told you to bring your lunch pail every day and work hard as you possibly can, and good things will happen. And so those two coaches, I think, allowed me to, be a great locker room guy and be like a glue guy on the majority of the teams I played on.
Oh, okay. And what year was your favorite year playing? What year, you brought you to like realize that, okay, I feel like, we can make something happen?
Well, I would have to say a couple years, because 2006 is when I got drafted as a rookie. I didn't play that much as a rookie, off and on, but we made it to the conference finals, came up short to a good San Antonio Spurs that went on to win the championship. So that first year was special to me because, it was kind of like a welcoming party into the NBA. Then probably 2008 almost averaged 14 points a game that year. And so my role was a little bit bigger, started every game off the Jazz. Coach Sloan entrusted a lot more in me, and we were pretty successful. And then the other year was probably 2010 when I played with the Bulls. We really thought we had a chance to win an NBA championship. We were the number one team in the East. Made it to the conference finals, but came up a little short to a really, really good Miami Heat team. So those 3 years probably were my best years, at the most memorable throughout those seasons.
Okay.
Yeah, and playing for Coach Thibodeau, I've read that he's very hard-nosed, like his conditioning program is really hard. Could you walk us through an off-season training camp with him?
Yeah. It's nothing. People take it out of context because he expects hard work. And to me, playing for Coach Sloan, it was just the norm. That's why I think Carlos Boozer, Kyle Korver, myself, when we came from Utah, it was an easy transition because we had played for Coach Sloan, who's very hard-nosed. But in the off season, if you're in Chicago or you're at home, and he wants you to follow a pretty strict regimen, and he wants you to get your conditioning in, he wants you to get your weights in, he wants you to stay in the gym as much as possible. He wants you to be in there at least 4 to 5 times a week, almost every day, or take one day off, and then you have the weekend off. It wasn't anything crazy. I think that when we were in Chicago, actually in the city, I think the chemistry got us better and together when we were doing these conditioning stuff and lifting weights at the facility, and just made us a better team. So he just made us practice hard every day, and I think that's kind of where he got his reputation, is that it wasn't a lot of rest and recovery. It wasn't like now like the nowadays NBA where it's like a guy using analytics needs a certain amount of time of rest, needs to sit out games. He didn't really believe in that. So we practiced hard every day, and he expected us to play hard every single time we took the floor.
Yeah, and you play with D Rose on his MVP season. What was the environment like that year? What's so special about it?
It was crazy because knowing Pooh, D Rose, man, he's such a humble guy. He loves the city of Chicago so much because he's from there, and he wants to put on and represent for the city so much. So that magical season in my eyes were so special because each and every night he brought it, not for himself, not just for his teammates, but to represent the whole city and what it meant to be from Chicago. And you really saw and you kind of felt it being in that same locker room with them because, you know, when we lost, like, it hurt. Like, a lot of times you play so many games, you play 82 games, not including exhibition and playoffs. You know, you lose a game, you try to forget that game, go to the next one and try to win that next one. But each and every game we lost, you know, he put the blame on himself that he could have done a little bit more. And he would be in the gym relentlessly, watching film relentlessly. And it only elevated your play, elevated your game because you didn't want to let him down. You didn't want to let the city down. So it was special. He was special. And him winning the MVP was just awesome to be a part of.
Yeah, and obviously you played over 500 games in your career. You played for plenty of teams. How hard is it to be a professional on every organization you play for?
Well, it's tough because every situation could potentially be different. You know, I came in to Utah, the 14th pick, expecting to do what I did, exactly what I was doing in high school and college. You know, I was a big-time scorer, you know, led my team in scoring every team I ever played on. And then my rookie year, I have a different role. And then my second year, I have a different role. You know, I go from not really playing that much my rookie year to my second year, I'm starting every game, you know, scoring in double figures. My third year, same thing. Fourth year, same thing. Then I get to Chicago, you know, Coach Tibbs is like, hey, I need something else. I need you to not only be, you know, a lockdown defender and a scorer, but I need you to come off the bench and be a boost and be a leader off that bench. And so, you know, kind of trying to be one of the catalysts off the bench, me, myself, C.J. Watson, Kyle Korver, Taj Gibson, Omer Asik, you know, we did the best we possibly can. And so my role was different there and trying to be as professional as I possibly can and lead that group. And then over time, you know, my role was a little bit different as my career progressed. You know, I was playing behind Kevin Durant. I was playing behind James Harden. I was playing behind a Melo in New York. So it was a little different. And you just try to be professional and do your part when you get in the game. Play as hard as you possibly can, be a great locker room guy, and, you know, be as professional as you possibly can day in and day out. Do your job.
And I wanted to ask you this. Which player helped you get better at your game?
Well, you know, I was blessed to be able to play with a lot of great players. I'm not saying each individual one mentored me, because they didn't, but being in their presence and saw their work habits and how they carried themselves as a professional allowed me to do the same exact thing. I think going into the league, Derek Fisher, he's an Arkansas native, won multiple championships with the Lakers. You know, he mentored all the young guys, what it meant to be a professional. You know, got us our first suits. You know, what it meant to be early to workouts, to get work in before and after, to stay in the weight room. We have a meeting at 11, try to be there on time. You know, stuff happens and you get held up, but try to do the best you possibly can. And that resonated with me throughout my career. And after the fact, you know, going into Utah, there's different great players, different great coaches. And you can look at every single team I played with. I played with all-stars, MVPs. They all did their part and helped me a little bit of being a better professional, and continually to find a way to stay in the league over a long period of time.
Yeah, and going back to that Bulls team with you, Taj Gibson, Carlos Boozer, you guys were always like hard-nosed, hard-working guys. When you got to face the Heat in that Eastern Conference Finals, was there a lot of trash talking going on? Was it like, you know, one of those hyped moments?
Well, I necessarily didn't trash talk. I was actually really good friends with a lot of those players. My agent, delayed Hank Thomas, he represented Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and Udonis Haslam. So a lot of times after games, we would, you know, be around those guys and talk with them. And, you know, we got the better of them 4 times that season in the regular season. And then, you know, they ended up winning the series. But I think the only person that was really trash talking was Joakim Noah. For whatever reason, him and Bosh or him and LeBron or D Wade and all those guys would get chippy with him. But I think that just brought out the competitiveness in Joakim was as well as those other guys. I think it was all a respect aspect. We respected them to the utmost, and I think they did us. And we just wanted to play hard. When we came to this situation, to the Bulls, there was only 4 guys that were carryover from that team. D. Rose, Luol Deng, Joakim Noah, Taj Gibson, and then everybody else was brand new players. And so we had to come together quickly and build our chemistry, and that's what made us play so hard. And I think that's what earned us the respect from other teams, and I think it was just mutual between us and the Heat.
Yeah, and what arena that year did you feel the most excitement in? Was it American Airlines?
Probably Lakers at Christmas Day. D Rose hit a tough shot late in the game to go up, and then the late Kobe Bryant had a chance to do one of his heroics and almost hit a last second shot. We threw the whole defense at him, and he still almost hit a fadeaway jump shot with the time going out. So that just showed his greatness and his will to try to get to his spot and knock down the shot. And luckily, it rimmed down and we got the win.
That's awesome. So, can you talk a little bit more about the late legend Kobe Bryant? Did you have any moments with him?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of moments with him. It was kind of crazy because that's kind of really the way I got to start playing in the NBA. Like I said, I wasn't playing that much my rookie year. Coach Sloan was super tough on rookies. I wanted them to earn the respect and wait their time and be patient, because that's what they had to do when he was playing. So my rookie year, I recall being at Staples Center, and, every time, we played a superstar, a legend, like as a rookie, we were like, oh man, me, Paul Millsap, and D Brown were the rookies on that team. And we were just like, man, this is crazy that, we made it to the NBA. We're having the opportunity to play, and we've been idolizing these guys as kids. So at Staples Center, Kobe Bryant is having a Kobe Bryant game. He has 30 points. He had a 30-point quarter. He had 30 points in the second quarter alone. And so, as you imagine, he's really hot, and the basket probably looks like an ocean. But he keeps on running by our bench, trash talking Coach Sloan, telling Coach Sloan, hey, you better get somebody else to guard me, because Matt Harpring and Andre Kirilenko can't guard me. So we're on the bench. We're like, man, did you hear him? Like, do you hear him? Like, dude is like, he's killing. He's talking trash to like our coach, like Coach Sloan. That's crazy. And we go into halftime, and Derek Fisher was trying to do his best, but he was way too small to guard Kobe. And we get in the locker room, and the rookies are sitting together. I'm like, Paul, D Brown, do you see that? Like, dude really had a game like he's playing 2K or NBA Live or something like that. Like, he had 30 points in one quarter. Like, he's gonna go for 81. And so Coach Sloan comes in there. He's kicking stuff, throws the clipboard down, and was like, man, who here is gonna try to slow down this guy? Like, everybody in here is scared of him. Nobody's trying to guard him. Like, I'm sick and tired of it. And he's like going down each person. You're pointing at him like, you're freaking scared of Kobe Bryant. You don't even want to guard him. He used some different language, but he was basically in our face screaming. And he gets to me, and he was like, you're freaking scared. I'm like, Coach, man, I respect the mess out of Kobe Bryant, but I'm just not scared of any man. Like, that's not how I was raised. Like, I fear God, but I don't fear or scared of a man. I was like, so no, I'm not scared of him, but I respect him. So he was looking at me. He was like, oh, you're just blowing smoke up my head. I was like, nah, like, just whatever. Like, I'm not scared of nobody. Like, nobody in this room, you, anybody. So he was like, all right, well, you're starting the second half on him. So I was like, oh, okay, bet. So we call it up. Everybody runs out. I grabbed Paul Millsap and D Brown. I was like, oh, my gosh, what did I just get myself into? But long story short, he didn't go for 81 points. He didn't go for, 70, 60, 50. And I just played hard. And it's not like I was, doing anything that I, like any other player doesn't do. Like, he just didn't, score 30 points in a quarter. And from that point on, Coach Sloan entrusted me in, oh, hey, man, this guy, I can have faith in him to go out there and compete. Like, he might not be a defensive stopper, but at least I know that he's going to compete and try hard. And so after that point, he kept on letting me play. But in the second and third and fourth year, I came a starter, and that's the reason why he told me. It wasn't because of my offensive skills. He was like, hey, I have trust in you that, you know, no matter who it is, like, you're going to compete and defend them.
Awesome.
But I'm not, and again, I'm not saying every time I played Kobe, it was successful, because Kobe's Kobe. He had 30-point games, 40-point games. There's clips going around on the internet where I played the perfect defense that I could possibly play, and he still had 30 points. You know, we played him so many times in regular season, so many times in playoffs. He's just a phenomenal player, and, you know, just the prayers go out to his family that he's not here anymore.
Yeah, of course. And so I was doing a little bit of research. I read that you had a broadcast journalism major.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So how much did that help you with answering media questions?
I guess it helped a little bit. I think that you show empathy, for me at least, for the people who are in that industry. I know how much hard work and dedication it takes to do that, to get a story, to get it on time. And sometimes when you're having a bad day or had a bad game, you don't necessarily want to answer questions to the media, or sometimes you feel like the questions that the media is asking are dumb questions. You then sometimes got, to me at least, I was like, man, they're just trying to do their job and do the job their best of their ability. So it helped me out a little bit, but to me, it just allowed me to be able to rationalize what they were going through.
And from the media, are there any like journalists that maybe stood out to you with like the type of questions they asked in a good way, as in, oh, these guys are good at their job, or it was always like a?
I mean, I just feel like I never experienced, like, I guess some other players can say that they experienced some bad media people. I wasn't that guy. I was always respectful to the media, and I think that the feelings were mutual. They respected me, and they treated me with respect. I've never got any crazy questions. You know, I always try to answer the questions thoroughly so they can get a good story. I feel like everybody who covers the NBA does a great job. The people on TNT, ESPN, and the sideline reporters, and the people that are coming in there interviewing before and after games. They are dedicated to their craft, and they work at it at a high level. And so, you know, just kudos to those guys, and all of them are great.
Yeah. So now, obviously, your career, you're done playing basketball. I saw you were playing in that TBT tournament. Is that something you're still interested in playing in?
No, man, I only played in that to try to get guys to play in it. You know, Arkansas's got a lot of talent that maybe the country doesn't know. And so for me, I was trying to be the glue person to get everybody to come out and play. A lot of people were in limbo about playing, and so basically I was just trying to be the person to bring everybody together. I'm more on the coaching side now than playing, and that's kind of the direction I'm going in.
Yeah, and you got Aaron.
No, I was I was gonna ask you. So, what is Ronnie Brewer up to now? You just said coaching. Where are you coaching now, or are you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once I finished playing basketball, I kind of was like, what can I do to keep myself busy? And so, you know, earlier we talked a little bit about my broadcast journalism degree. And so I was like, hey, I wanted to kind of flirt with doing that. And so I did a little stuff with TV, you know, covering college sports, covering the Arkansas Razorbacks. And then I was like, well, that was cool, but maybe that's not what I want to do. And, you know, I got into being on the radio. So I currently still do that. I've been doing that for a couple of years. We have a show on 99.5 ESPN radio here with Wallace Spearman, Aaron Peters, and myself. So still growing that. But for the most part, that takes up my time. I also got some other business endeavors. I got a hair store out here. I in the process of, I got a trucking company that we transport steel coils and beams, Brew Crew Transportation. I have some rental properties, but right now I currently am an assistant coach at my high school. for the varsity, junior varsity. The head sophomore basketball coach at Fayetteville High School. I teach oral communication there. And I also teach an AAU basketball program. I got the little sweatshirt on, the Woods Elite that we got. We play in the EYBL, the Elite Youth Basketball League, sponsored by Nike Basketball. So that takes up most of my time. Very proud to be a part of both teams at the Fayetteville High School and to be the head coach of the Woods Elite.
Yeah, and looking at EYBL basketball and youth basketball, comparing to when you were back in your high school days, do you like in the direction where it's going, in where like the media hypes everything up, or do you think maybe some players are getting a little bit over themselves at a young age?
I think that I like the media attention, but it's up to the individual basketball player what he does with that, and I don't think that has to do with anything with the media. It has all to do with that individual person, because you can look at it one or two ways. You know, LeBron was named the king or the chosen one a long time ago. He could have barbecued, he could have mildewed. He barbecued, he met the expectations, he kept on growing, he kept on working, he developed his craft, and he didn't let the media attention get to his head. Now, that's one way to take it. The other way is you let it get to your head, you stop working, you think that, I made it because I made it in this magazine, or I got this highlight tape, or I did well at this tournament. And then you let guys that be behind you outwork you and they pass you. But that's all down to the heart and the individual person. I think that the media needs to continue to do what they're doing and showcase these kids. It makes more people get recognized, and more people have a platform to get recruited by these NCAA teams. You know, a coach can't go out there and see all top 100 guys. I mean, there's other guys that are diamonds in the rough. There's other guys that are really skilled all over the world. And so these publications allow these guys to be seen and put on a platform for a lot of the people who would not get the opportunity to go to college if it wasn't for basketball or some kind of athletics.
Yeah, of course. And now that you're a coach, what type of lessons do you try to apply to your players? Obviously, every coach is, work hard, do this and that.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think your players take it a little bit more to heart, knowing that you're a former NBA player?
I mean, it's just a weird situation in my school. I mean, you walk in the gym, and in the trophy cases, my picture's there, my Player of the Year is there, my All-American plaque is there. You going into the gym, a big poster of Gatorade Player of the Year, and retired jerseys like that. So when I'm talking it's not from a place that I've never been. But the lessons that I try to teach each and every day to me is not about basketball. It's bigger than basketball. It's about being a good person. It's about taking care of business in the classroom. To me, it's all fine and dandy if you're putting in the work in the gym, getting up shots in the weight room, scoring 20 points, getting 10 rebounds. But that's going to stop if you're not putting the same effort and energy in the classroom. And that's what I preach each and every day. And if you ask any of my players, they'll tell you, because I sound like a broken record, because each and every day, that's what we in the practice on is, hey, man, my sophomore group, we practice in the morning, and JV and varsity practice in the afternoon. But the sophomore group in the morning, I tell them, hey, prepare yourself, come prepared to class, have your Chromebook, sit in the first two rows of class, and be a helping hand to the teachers instead of being a thorn in their side. And, you're supposed to carry yourself because it should mean a lot to you to be part of Fayetteville basketball. And so you have to carry yourself that way. Not saying that we're better than anybody, but it's a privilege to be able to play basketball. And you should take it like that. And so that's my lesson I tell the guys. It's all about academics, all about education, and it goes hand in hand. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah, and how far do you see yourself going with coaching basketball? Are you looking maybe
Yeah, I'm fairly young. You can coach basketball until you're super old. So, right now, I'm at Fayetteville High School, my alma mater. I enjoy the job. I love the job. But I have goals one day to, hopefully coach in college and, goals to potentially coach in the NBA. I feel like I'm pretty good at my craft. And I think I have the knowledge. I think I've been around great coaches that I've been a sponge to pick up knowledge, been around great players to pick up knowledge. And so, I think I've been there and done that to be able to showcase and tell people where to go and where's, how to teach the game the right way and how to play it.
And what's one common mistake you see with a lot of these youth basketball organizations? Obviously, you coach one.
Mm-hmm. Common mistake would be what the meaning and what it's supposed to do. To me, like it should be about teaching, and that should be your number one focus. Is what are you teaching these kids? Because a lot of these EYBL coaches, I wouldn't say a lot, but some AU EYBL coaches are there for their experience. And they're not necessarily teaching the game the right way. And that should be the main focus is when the kid leaves your program and goes back to school basketball, you've educated them and taught them the right way to play on both ends of the court. And they are better when they go back than when they first came to you.
Of course. Yeah, and I see that. I've seen a lot of these youth clubs and youth teams that, they just mainly focus on basketball, but there's no moral or life lessons that you teach.
Man, it's all about teaching, and it's not just teaching basketball. Like when I'm teaching, academics. We do stuff with the ACT, SAT prep stuff. It's all about teaching how to be a young adult. We do voluntary stuff in the community. To me, you've got to know where you're from before you know where you're going in life. And so we want to get back to the community first. And if it's all about basketball, hey, we're just going to show up on Saturday and hoop, then you missed out on all what it means. Because these life lessons that you're teaching these guys is not just going to stick with them then. It's going to carry on for them for the rest of their lives. And that's what we try to do at the Woods Elite is teach and develop these guys, not only on the court, but off the court as well.
That's awesome. And how has the coronavirus impacted the whole AAU aspect? Were you guys still able to play this summer?
Well, last summer, when coronavirus, COVID-19 first came out, we had multiple meetings with Nike, and they made a conscious decision as a whole, as a group, to cancel EYBL to put everybody. We didn't want to put anybody in risk of getting sick. So basically, we're playing it by ear. We're watching how people are doing this year to make things go forward. I plan on, things going forward this summer with EYBL, with a lot of the things that people are implementing in high school basketball, college basketball, and the NBA. So, hopefully, we play games and everybody can stay healthy and safe.
That's awesome. I wanted to ask you something. Okay. Do you think kids have changed from your time to now?
I think that because of social media, I think there's a lot more entitlement now than it was back when I was playing. Just because there's more showcases, there's more recruiting magazines, there's more stuff online than it was back then. When I was playing, it was only a couple of classifications or publications that came out, and everybody was trying to get it from the mud because it's like, okay, if you're not on that list, you got to keep on grinding to try to get on the list. Now it's like it's so many different publications that people feel, oh, I done made it. I made it on this person's top 15, or I done made it on this person's top 10 or top 20 or top 30 or top 40. And their work ethic might shift a little bit. So it's a little different, but at the same time, it's something that it's just the times right now.
Yeah, and what would you say about Arkansas high school basketball? I haven't really seen it too much on the national stage, but
Yeah.
obviously learning from you now that you guys are teaching a lot of lessons. Do you think it's something that isn't being spoken about too much? Local basketball in Arkansas.
I think Arkansas basketball has always been underrated for a long time. I think these next 3 years, last 2 years we produced some guys out of the state, but the next 3 or 4 years I think is going to garnish a lot more attention with the up and coming players that they have in high school. Some of them are nationally ranked already. A Darian Ford, a Joseph Pinion, a Khalil Ware, a Nick Smith Jr., a Bryson Warren, a Nora Boateng. Some of those guys, there's got Leighton Blocker, all those guys, Jaden Forrest, Ryan Forrest, Rashad Marshall. It's a lot of young guys coming up, Dallas Thomas coming up in the ranks that are nationally ranked that I think that is going to take the grassroots circuit by storm. And so there's a lot of good things to be proud about, to be in Arkansas native, especially when with this summer basketball coming up, because there's a lot of young talent that I think that is going to make a name for themselves.
We're good. You can hear me? I thought I was lagging out. Yeah, that's awesome. So, that's all I got, Ronnie. I'm not sure if Ernie still got a little more.
I'm just glad you took your time out to be on the podcast. Just thank you very much. And since you're a high school coach now, so what I do showcases in Florida.
Okay.
So I do football and basketball, and a lot of basketball coaches always hit me up for D1 and D2 coaches. So if you have any players, I wouldn't mind sending their names to them.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Hey, I'll right before we start, man, I'll reach out. If you can double back with me, remind me. I'll give you a roster of ours, and and who to follow our Woods Elite page, and we got a pretty good team. So I think a lot of college coaches will be following us. So